Hello, friends. It is Monday morning, and I am so excited to speak with you today for a few minutes on a topic that is going to be specific to some of you and generic to all of you. So I love this topic. It is, what kind of leader are you? And then I'm gonna take you through that for just a moment, but then I'm also gonna wrap this up with three key tips that you can use to improve your leadership skills. And I really hope that you take just a few minutes to sit down with me and to dig into this. And let me tell you why. Why at this point in my life am I really digging into this? Well, we just finished, for those of you who know, I am in a Mary Kay world, and we just finished our year in Mary Kay. And I had a really fun conversation with my national sales director about the vision that I have for the future of my team and how God is going to use me in this business that I'm in. And so we had this great conversation, and I started praying that God would show me, all right, in your word, show me where I need to be, what I need to be seeing, listening to, what vision do you need to cast for me? And it's so funny. I prayed this prayer and I opened my Bible, as I just do, right? And I believe that when I ask God to show me something and then I'm obedient by looking in the direction he gives me, that he's going to take me there. And he took me to the book of Judges. And I have been reading the book of Judges, and I've been so excited to hear about the different leadership attributes of some of these people that he called to be the judges over his chosen people. And you know what, as I've been reading through it, I hear about these amazing leaders who had this big story where they really trusted God and they went into battle for his people. But then I see these little spots in the book of Judges where it gives you a name of somebody. Let me just give you one of them. And it's very interesting what it says in here. Let me find one. Let's see. Well, I should have had this prepared, but let me just tell you what happened. So we get this great story about this amazing person who is just called, and God leads him, and he has this great legacy of leading his people. And then we go to this other person and they say, and then there was this person and he lived for 26 years and ruled for 22 and died, or whatever, right? And then we go on to this story of this another amazing leader, and it says, and then we get to this one and he ruled for 12 years and he died. And then we get this amazing story about Samson, and then we go back and there's this other leader that his name is mentioned because this name was mentioned because they were called to be a leader and they were selected by God to lead his people. But there was no impact that was noted. And as I've been reading this, I'm on chapter 13 now. And I have really been taking a heart to this and saying, God, I don't want to be that leader that is listed in your book that you chose for a very specific time to lead people, whether it's in business or in ministry or in mentorship, but that you called me to lead these people. And the only impact I have is your impact that just says that I was just called and then I died, right? I don't want to be that kind of leader. I want to be the kind of leader that you can trust, that will walk with you, that will be obedient to your word, that will stand up and say, yes, I'm going to follow you and do what you ask me to do. And I want to be that kind of leader, right? And so it really had me thinking about my personal leadership that I have had over the last, I don't know, 20 years of leading people. You know, I had been in the banking industry for 16 years, and the last 8, I was a branch manager. Let me tell you, that first year I was horrible, like a horrible leader, because I didn't know what I was doing. And maybe the second and third year, I incrementally got better. But, you know, there was so many times over this last 20-year period that I've really developed as skills as a leader. And I had this reflection as I was reading this book of Judges that I want to be one of those leaders that God calls that truly makes an impact. And my call in life, let me just say this. My platform, what God put in my hands is makeup and skincare and helping women see their beauty and helping them see exactly who they are. Because sometimes we have so many masks on our face that we don't know who we are. We have to strip back and strip back and strip back. So God allows me to use my Mary Kay business to speak into their hearts and to help them discover exactly who they are and then teach them how they can utilize that newfound information to live their life's purpose. So that's why I do Mary Kay. But when he was revealing this to me, I decided I don't any longer want to be the leader that has led for a while and then died. And that was all that the legacy said about me, like many of the leaders that were chosen in the book of Judges. And so I want to share with you today 3 tips, just 3. Like there are so many. You can go, and in fact, behind me right here, there's tons of leadership books. If I were to turn my computer, you would see a ton more. Like I am a person who believes in receiving knowledge and being better and better every day. However, this is the book that I read the most and the one that I really, cling to and that I believe gives me real life wisdom. But over all the years of being a leader and these new revelations that I've had, I want to give you these 3 tips that will help you. So the first tip I want to tell you, if you want to be a leader of impact, one that the story is longer than she was called, she lived for 10 years and then she died. Like if you want to have a legacy in your leadership, use these 3 tips. And the first one is know where you're going, even if it's just an idea of where you're going, and cast a compelling vision. Right? We've got to know as leaders where we're going. In my husband's business, he had to have the vision of where he wanted to go in his business. And then he had to create a compelling message to tell people, this is where we're going. And he had to show them the vision because nobody can see in here, right? All they can get is what we give out. And if we have this enormous vision and this dream for our life or this plan that God puts on our heart, but we can't communicate it from here to here, they're never going to get it. And your leadership is going to fall flat because nobody knew where you were going and they can't follow something they don't understand. The next thing, so that was number 1, know where you're going and create a compelling vision and cast it. Number 2, create a solid communication checkpoint plan. Create that solid communication checkpoint plan because as you start walking down this path of your leadership journey or your life's journey or towards your vision, there's going to be like bumps in the road that throw you off and you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's not where we're going anymore, right? We're going to shift, right? We all learned that word pivot over the last couple of years. And I, wanted to put that on my forbidden words list for a while because I'm like, I don't ever want to talk about pivoting ever again. But when you're a leader, things sometimes change. Circumstances come up and you're like, whoa, Nellie, I was not expecting that. It is time to shift that vision a little bit, but I have to communicate this change. Otherwise, people are still going on that road or they get frustrated and they don't understand. And then they're thinking all you do is change your mind, right? And they quit honoring and trusting your leadership. When somebody can't trust you as a leader, you have zero effect on their life. People need to be able to trust you. And if you are the leader that's called to those people, you got to take that responsibility that says, I'm going to step up and do everything in my power to create a path that allows people to trust me. You can't control their emotions, unfortunately. But you can control your actions that say, I'm going to give you steps to take. I'm going to communicate with you often. And I'm going to give you check-ins and checkpoints to make sure we're still on the same page because I'm committed to being your leader. And I want you to be committed to being on my journey with me. We're going to create and make great things together. So number 2 was to create a solid communication checkpoint plan so that people can stay with you and they can know where you're going and they can walk that journey with you. And finally, number 3, And this, my friend, if you are a leader that's going to actually have impact in the lives of people, you see, there are leaders out there that, are dictators and they say, do this, do that. And they just expect people to do it. But the real charge of being a leader is God is giving you these people because he expects you to make a difference in their lives, right? That is kind of the interchange there, is that he is entrusting you with people anticipating that you're going to make an impact in their life. And so, one of the ways that you can do that is to discover with them and help them develop their strengths. And I want to give you an example. As I mentor some businesses and really as I work with my husband and his business and his people, I discovered that one of his employees he probably reads more self-help books than I do. He probably is more excited about life than I am. Like I hardly ever meet somebody that is like a motivation junkie like me. Like I hardly ever meet those kinds of people. And when I do, I spot them and I'm like, yes, this is. And so anyway, so a lot of times leaders, if you're not looking for that, you could get intimidated by it. And so I told my husband, I said, that person needs to be the one that pumps your people up every single, Monday morning meeting or whatever mornings he does his meetings. But that person needs to be the one that you utilize to pump people up. And not only will his energy and his excitement be what cascades through your team and your other people will get excited, but he will also know that you are just as invested in his future and his development and that skill that he has as he is, right? And so the third thing again is to help your team discover, like, you're really good at this. Let's figure out in the vision of where we're going, how I can utilize your strengths and the things that God has just blessed you with to help you be the hero, right? In our vision and in our purpose and where we're going in life. And, I don't want to belabor this too long. I don't want to take it too much time for you today, but I really want to circle this back because there are too many leaders that God calls to be leaders, and myself included. And I don't want to be that leader that, just like in the book of Judges, it's, your name was called because we are all called, right? We are all called for a purpose, on purpose, to complete a purpose, right? But I don't want my name just to be mentioned in like 2 verses that says this person was called and they led for 24 months and they died. Like, I don't want that to be my journey. And if you are passionate about the gifts that God placed on you and the leadership potential that you have within you, I really want you to consider, what can you do to not be that leader that's mentioned and gone? But what instead can you do that will change the trajectory of the people that you are called to lead? Maybe you're called to lead a small organization. Maybe you're called to lead your family. Maybe you're called to lead a nonprofit organization or a church ministry. Maybe you are called to lead and be one like me, one of the top 2% in the biggest skincare and beauty company in the world that's focused on empowering women. I don't know where you're called, but I do know this. If you are called, you have a job to do, and I want to help you be the most effective leader you can. So hold on to these 3 tips. Again, number 1, know where you are going and cast a compelling vision so that people can see it, right? Cast that vision so people can see it. Number 2, create a solid communication and checkpoint plan so that people know how to follow. And when you do have to make adjustments and shifts, they're right on along with you and not losing trust in your ability to lead. And finally, number 3, discover and help your team develop their strengths. My friend, thank you for watching with me today. I hope this gives you something forward, to help propel you forward in your business and in your life. And of course, you can always stay connected with me on social media, on Facebook. Put a comment in here if there's something that resonated with you, or maybe you are having a leadership struggle. I'd love to chat with you about that as well. And of course, you can follow me on YouTube. But God bless you. Thank you. Now go out and be the absolute best leader that you were called to be. Have a great day. Bye.